All right,
We are
right
on.
on.
We are on Kaf Ches, Sukkot 28. Torah Rabbanan Meister probably. Oh, by the way, this morning is the bar mitzvah at the kotel.
Mazel tov.
Oh, Mazel
Yeah,
Tov.
yeah. He has it. He had his. We went Monday, Bo Bayom, but today is the where people are invited to the kotel. He's laning on Shabbos too, but today is like an event as well.
Nice. Make sure you go in your kutzah, Hazen.
Hmm.
Torah Rabbanan Meister Rabbi Yezer Shabbos beGalil LaElyon. Rabbi Yezer was spending Shabbos in the Galil. Ushalu shloishim halachos behilchos sukkah. The Talmidim asked him 30 questions about Hilchas Sukkah. Shtei Esrei Omar lehem shomati. Shmona Asar Omar lehem lo shomati. He was the one who said he had never paskened the halacha. He didn't give out a halacha unless he'd heard something from his Rebbe about the halacha. So on 12 of them, he told them, "This is what I heard from my Rebbe." On 18 of them, he said, "I can't give you an answer because I didn't hear the answer from my Rebbe." He said just the opposite. Shmona Asar Amar Lehem Shomati. On 18, he had heard the halacha from his Rebbe. Shtei Esrei Amar Lehem Lo Shomati. On 12, he had heard Lo Shomati. Armelo, Kol Dvarecha Einin Ela B'pi Hashmua. I don't understand. Everything that you've said to us, that you've taught us, is only B'pi Hashmua. That means it's only from your Rebbe. Amar Lehem. He's Katuni Lo My Davar Shelo Shomati Mipi Rabbi Isai. Now, I was always careful not to say things that I didn't hear from my Rebbe. But now I'm going to tell you some things that I didn't hear from my Rebbe that are about my personal characteristics. Nobody ever beat me to the base medrash. I was always first in the base medrash in the morning. Because of the holiness of the base medrash, I never took a nap there, not a temporary nap or a long nap. When I left the base medrash, I was always the last one out. In the base medrash, I never spoke dvorim betelim, things that are not related to Torah. And I never his Rebbe. This is Rabbi Eliezer ben Hurkanis, who is listed as one of the 5 Talmidim in Pirkei Avos of Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. Right? In the second parak of Pirkei Avos, it says Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai had 5 Talmidim. One of them was Rabbi Eliezer ben Hurkanis. This is the one we're talking about. Omar Lav Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. This is what was said about Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. The same midos, exactly, that Rabbi Eliezer described about himself. So he was mamish, a clone of his Rebbe. That I didn't, in the base medrash, I didn't speak dvorim betelim. I never walked 4 amis without Torah, without tefillin. Nobody was in the base medrash before Rav Yochanan Zakkai. He never napped in the base medrash. When he's walking the streets and he comes to an alley that has a dirt in it, like tsoa, where you're not allowed to speak divrei Torah, he didn't even think about Torah when he walked in those alleys. He never left somebody in the base medrash. When he left the base medrash, means he was the last one to leave. Nobody ever found him sitting and just battling. He was always sitting and learning. He was the one who opened the door to let the Talmidim into the base medrash. He also, Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai also never said anything that he hadn't heard from his Rebbe. He never said, "Oh, now's the time we should leave the base medrash." There was no bittul base medrash for any reason. Chutz me'arvei psachim v'arvei Yom Kippurim. Erev Pesach, people had to go home early to set up the seder. Same thing on Yom Kippur; they had to eat. So those were the exceptions. The Cheinai Rabbi Eliezer Tamido Noigach Rav, and therefore we now know Rabbi Eliezer had those attributes because he followed his Rabbi's attributes. Now, we've talked about Rabbi Eliezer. We've talked about his Rabbi, Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. Who was the Rabbi of Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai? Torah Bonin, Shmoinim Talmidim Ayul Hillel Azokin. Hillel Bavli, Hillel came up from Bavel and became the Nasi in Eretz Yisrael. And he had 80 Talmidim. 30 of his Talmidim were on a level where the Shechina could come to them like it had come to Moshe Rabbeinu. 30 of them were on the level that they could have stopped the sun the way Yoshua stopped it, be'emek hayalon. Shemesh begivon dom, v'yareach be'emek hayalon. When we learned Yoshua, we know that in the battle against the Melech Knaanim, the sun stopped for Yoshua. Esrim Beinonim. 20 were in the middle. Gadol Shabakulon, Yonasan ben Uziel. Yonasan ben Uziel, we have a Perush of Nach, of Yonasan ben Uziel, which is one of the earliest Perushim of Tanakh that existed. Kadna Shabakulon, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. The Kadna Shabakulon of the 80 was Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. So we get an idea of the level of greatness. Amar Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai, what was the level of Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai? Shloiniach Mikra u'Mishnah. Rashi says Mishnah kegon Mishnah u'Baraisa shel Shisa Sadorim. Gemara, let's look at Rashi. Zui Svara. The logic, Shayu Tanoim Achroinim, Medagdigim Bedivrei Arishonim Astumim Lefarshim Velitein Bem Tam. The later Tanoim would analyze the earlier words of the Tanoim and deduce from them what the svara behind it was. Kimosha also Amoyroim Achra Tanoim. Rashi explains the same way that the Amoyroim, like Rav and Shmuel, Abai and Rava, who were in the Amoyroim generation, who did the same thing with the Tanoim. Shepirshu Divrei Tanoim, Shalifneim, V'kavu B'hem Gemara. That's our Gemara, which follows the Mishnah of also Diyuk. Shebimei Tanoim Nikra Talmud. Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai was not an Amoyra. So Rashi is telling us that when it says Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai learned Gemara, he analyzed the prior Tanoim, The same way Abai and Rava analyzed the prior Tanoim. Back to the Gemara, Mikra Mishnah Talmud, Halachos ve'agodos. What's halachos? Halacha l'Moshe Misinai. Kigon good, achis, v'lavud, v'doifen akuma, the shiurin, chatzitzin, mechitzin, eser netias, that if you do 10 plantings in a certain area, it's okay. Arava, the din
And you're freezing.
is sheboin lidrosh behen ribuim umiyutin. When we have an extra letter, yes,
The internet is bad.
my internet is bad.
It's coming and going. You're freezing.
About a minute ago, you went off.
Okay, hang on.
Now it seems to be
Is that better?
okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Digduke Torah, ribui oisios, sheboin lidrosh ben ribuim umiyutin. When you have an extra letter, kigon ha'ezrach, lahotzi anoshim. We're going to learn today, when it says kol ha'ezrach b'Yisrael, the extra hey teaches us that women are excluded. Digduke sofrim, shosifu l'dagdeg, achar maisa brios, ula'achmer v'laso siag, was nine of the various gzeros, the gazru gzeros la'archik es ha'odem and aveira, like ger ha'bala kabel Torah love, chutz midavar acher and makabim moso. So you can't accept the ger without the digduke soifrim. The extra gzeros, that's a digduk for soifrim. Kalim v'chamurim kal v'chomer, dvarim ha'maledim b'kal v'chomer. Rashi says, Kavachomer didn't have to come directly from Sinai. Person could darshna Kavachomer by his own svara. Gzera Shavos, Dvorma Lamedim B'Gzera Shavos, you Tesvav, Nisan, Tesvav, Tishrei, that's a Gzera Shavos. Kufos v'gematrios, cheshbon hayilot chamel, the calculation of astronomy, v'gematrios, dvar malamodim beloshen gematria. Rashi says kigon at bash, right? If you take the 8 days of Pesach, the first day Aleph relates to Tisha B'av. If the first day of Pesach is a Monday, Tisha B'av is going to be on a Monday. That's the Atbash. Sichas Maloche Hashores. Sichas Shedim. Sichas Dekolim. The language of the Malachim. The language of the demons. The language of the date trees. What does Rashi say? Lo Yadana Maihi. Don't know what those things are. Rashi's been explaining every type of Torah that Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai learned. That's what Rashi was familiar with. So already in the time of Rashi, in the year 1000, they did not know what the Sichas Malach Ashare, Sichas Shedim, Sichas Dekolim Bichlal was. Mishlos Kovsim, the parables of the people who did laundry, or Mishlos Shualim, the various parables of the fox, like Aesop's fables, the fox and the grasshopper that he swam across a river. You know, all of those fables. Rashi says, "Sheyazdu kadmonim latet amtala latochachem." Earlier wise men would say a parable about something to give sort of a real life story to hammer home some kind of musar.
Ernie,
Yes.
no, article says about the Shlomo spoke about the trees. Means that Shlomo was knowledgeable about the medicinal properties of plants, their uses for building purpose, etc. Thus, the verse does not mean the speech of the palms, but rather speech concerning their uses. That's what it, according to this.
Right. Well, yeah, he says the Rashbam says that's about Sichas Dekolim, the language of the trees. Like Moshe said, that he knew, he said some kind of thing about the cedars of Lebanon. And the Meiri says, when it says Sichas Malachim and Shedim, he was expert in sort of science, the Teva, Chochmas HaTeva, Umasha L'Malam min HaTeva, nature and what's above nature. They could learn things from the way trees moved.
That's the way the Gaonim explain it.
Right.
So he says,
And the way the trees talk to each other, the way they
right.
the
The
way they
leaves when they move.
Right. Then it says Dover
Yes, then-
Godel. It says Dover Godel, the Dover Cotton. What's Dover Godel? Meiser Merkava. Well, we know that's the explanation of the first parak of Yechezkel, which we lay on Shavuos, which is the basis for Kabbalistic thought. So it's the way the upper worlds work. Dover Cotton, Havayis Dabai Verava. All the various, I think there are 350 debates between Abai and Rava. So Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai was already learning all of those, all of what Abai and Rava were mischadesh later on. He knew all of that and gave svaras. It's just later on, in the times of the Amoraim, they forgot all of that. Abai and Rava had to come and renew it. L'kayim hashenemar l'hanchil oyevayesh v'oitzresei amale. The pasuk in Mishlei that a person has like a treasure house. I'm going to fill your treasure house. This is Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai, who was mole.
Now it seems to come back.
No, they can hear no speech.
Wait, I can't hear anything.
1 second. One
Now
second.
you're back.
Let me just sign off for a minute. 1 second. One second. On the roof, Yaakov's Wi-Fi, I guess when you told me a few days ago that it was intermittent, I switched to my hotspot, and it looked like the hotspot was a better connection. Somehow this morning it says no service on the hotspot. I don't know why. So I'm inside the kitchen, where I think the Wi-Fi works better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we said, if these are the attributes of Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai, what are the attributes of the greatest Yonas ben Uziel? Amar alav al Yonas ben Uziel b'shar she'yoshev v'osef b'Torah kol oif she'poirech alav miyad nisraf. that when Yonasan ben Uziel would learn Torah, any bird that flew over his head would get burnt up. That's how much holiness was above Rav Yonasan ben Uziel when he taught Torah. I once heard from my Rebbe, I don't remember which one, if that was the level of Rav Yonasan ben Uziel, what was the level of his Rebbe, Hillel HaZaken? So my Rebbe told me that when Hillel learned Torah, he could control the fire above his head. So when the bird flew over his head, it didn't get burnt up. So that's just something that I remember. Mishnah. Mishaya Rosh of Aruba B'Sukkah, V'Shulchan B'Sukkah Bayis. Person's head and the majority of his body is in the sukkah, but his table is in the house. Right? People who make a hybrid sukkah connected to their kitchen. Beis Shammai poislin, Beis Hillel machshirin. Beis Shammai said it's not good. Beis Hillel said it's good. Here, the halacha is like Beis Shammai, that it's not a good sukkah. We'll see in a minute later. It's like Beis Shammai. Amr lahem Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. Well, kachaya ma'isa. Wasn't the story Shalei Beis Hillel Vakis Rabbi Yochanan ben Achronis? The Talmidim of Beis Shammai Beis Hillel went to visit Rabbi Yochanan ben Achronis. Umatzu shaya Yoshev Rosh Aruba B'Sukkah V'Shulchan B'Sukkah Bayis. He was sitting in this fashion, V'lo Amr lo davar, and even the Ziknei Beis Shammai seemed to permit. So how can you say Beis Shammai said that it's possible? Amr lam Beis Shammai misham raya. There's no raya from there. Avheim Amr lo im kena yisa noig lo kiyanta mitzvah sukkah b'yamecha. No. The Beis Shammai nicks over there told Rav Yochanan that if this is the way you've been always being Mekayim, never Mekayim mitzvah sukkah in your life. The Mishnah continues. Noshim v'avodim uktanim p'tur min sukkah. Women evet knanim ktanim are potur min sukkah. Once a child doesn't need his mother anymore, we will see what that definition means. He requires mitzvah sukkah, certainly al chinuch. Like any mitzvah, a cotton is required. Ma'isa v'yolda kaloso shel Shammai hazaken. The daughter-in-law of Shammai gave birth, and there was an infant in the sukkah. Upiches esamaziva. He removed some roofing over the child, the sichach al gabi amita. He put schach on top of the crib, bishvil cotton, because he felt that the cotton should have sukkah as well. Well, there seems to be a story that goes against what the halacha in the Mishnah said, that only a child that doesn't need his mother anymore is chayv in sukkah. Why all of a sudden we told a story about an infant that certainly needs its mother? So the Gemara will have to explain that to us. So Manan and Mili, so how do you know that noshim are pturim from sukkah? The Ton Rabbanon, Ezrach, says, Kol Ezrach bi Yisrael yeshvu basukos. Ezrach means citizen. Ze Ezrach, which seems to imply everybody in Klal Yisrael, including women. But then when it says ha-ezrach, the citizen, lahotzias anoshim, the extra hey comes to say that women are not chayiv and sukkah. What's called l'rabos esaktanim? The call comes to include
Ernie,
Omar.
Ernie,
Yes.
it's not that great,
Yes?
the kitchen. The internet is not that great again.
Omar Mar. Ha'ezrach lahotzias hanoshim. It comes to exclude women, which seems to
No.
imply lememra the
No.
Ezra. Yes, yes,
No,
not good.
No, it's
no,
fine.
maybe,
Yeah, perfectly, Mario. It's
It's
perfect.
fine, Mario.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, no,
It's perfect.
Ha'ezrach
Eh,
lahotzias. Huh?
go ahead.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
It's perfect.
Ha'ezrach l'rabos hanoshim. Ezra comes to lememra the Ezrach bein noshim bein gabri mashma. It seems to imply that the word Ezrach means men and women. Vatanya ha'ezrach l'rabos hanoshim. Here's a bryce that says ha'ezrach comes to include women. Ha'ezrachiel shechayavis b'inu. This is by Yom Kippur, because by Yom Kippur it also says the word Ezra. It says b'chodesh hashvi be'asor lachodesh ta'anu es nafsho seichem b'chom lachal lo ta'asu ha'ezrach v'hager hagar b'soichechem. There, the ha'ezrach comes to say that women have to fast on Yom Kippur. Alma ezrach gavri mashma. Over there, the context of the word ezrach without the hay implies only men. This din is halacha l'Moshe Sinai, and the Chachamim brought a pasuk just to remember that by one case women are included, and by the other case women are excluded. Hey krava hey hilchasa. Number one, which is the halacha, the salamali and hilchasalamali. The Gemara asks another fundamental question. Why did I need the whole drasha of Ezra? Hasukah mitzvah sasesha zman gromim. It says you have to sit in the sukkah on the 15th day of Tishrei. So it's a mitzvah that's tied to time. We know a general rule. Any mitzvah that's tied to time, women are potter. So why do I need a drasha to tell me women are potter? I know women are potter from the general rule of mitzvah sasesha zman gromim. So Yom Kippurim, so the din that women have to fast is a lav. It's a negative prohibition. When it comes to violations of lavim, women follow men. There is no mitzvah cessation as man grama by lavim. Any lav, a woman is chayavin. So by Yom Kippur, there's no problem. So Amr Abaye lo'elam sukkah hilchasa. So really, the halacha l'mashmin is regarding sukkah, that women are potter, and I still need a pasuk. It says basukos teshvu, and Chazal made a drasha. You should live in the sukkah the way you live a whole year in your house. Madira ishvi ishto. In your house, a man lives with his wife. Absuka ishvi ishto. So too by the sukkah is going to be a man and his wife. Kamash Mallah, that we have to be taught that women are potter from sukkah. Rava Amar, it's another reason why I need a pasuk to tell me that they're potter. Because yesterday we learned a drasha that you're chayav to eat at least one suda in the sukkah the first night of Sukkot. Why? Because it says chamisha asar b'tishrei, chamisha asar b'nisa. On the 15th of Nisan, there's a chayav to eat matzah. So on the 15th of Tishrei, there's a chayav to eat the sukkah. And therefore, mala hala nashim chayavos, there's a special limud that women are chayav in eating matzah. Afkan nashim chayavos. I might have thought that since just like by matzah, there's a chayav to eat for women matzah, there's a chayav to eat in the sukkah. Kamash Malan, that no, ha'ezrach comes to as say women are potter. So now the whole thing is halach l'mashmisin and kral lamali. What do I need the pasuk for? And for the Gemara, the rabbi says, Gerim. To tell me that even Gerim, converts, are chayiv in sukkah. It says a full citizen of Klal Yisrael has to sit in the sukkah. Maybe I would have thought Gerim are excluded. Kamash Malon that no, Gerim are included. And then Frank the Gemara, Yom Kippur Rav Yudam Rav Nafka. And what about this thing? Yom Kippur is learned in Rav Yudam Rav that women are chayiv and all lavim like men. So then what's the drasha of Ha'ezrach to include women? We have a din by Yom Kippur. You have to start fasting a few minutes before Yom Kippur. That's called the din of Tosefes. So I might have thought women don't have a din of Tosefes. From the word Kol Ha'ezrach B'Yisrael will keep Yom Kippur that includes women in the Inyan of Inu. Because there is no punishment if I don't accept Tosefes Inu. So I might have thought, since there's no lab, and since the only reason women are chayiv in Yom Kippur is because they share in all the labim like men, maybe the women would not have a din of Tosefes. Kamash Palan, that the extra hay comes to teach us that they are involved in the Tosefes. Omar Mar, Kol, Rabbi Zakani. The word Kola is, the Mishnah says, what do you mean, Rabbi Zakani? The Mishnah said that Ktanim are potter. A cotton that is of the age of chinuch is going to be chayiv in sukkah. Kan bekotter shelo giya l'chinuch. Frag the Gemara, how can you tell me a cotton shegiya l'chinuch is chayiv? Cotton shegiya l'chinuch is midrabanan. It's only rabbinic. It's not min Torah. And for the Gemara midrabanan cross maktabanahu. It's a rabbinic law, but the pasuk came to give them a hint for them to remember that there's a din of chinuch. Then the Mishnah gave a get there, cotton sheina tzarich le'imo, that it's only a cotton that doesn't need its mother anymore that's going to be chayiv in sukkah. What does that mean? If the child can go to the bathroom and clean himself after he goes to the bathroom without the mother cleaning him, that's a cotton that doesn't require its mother, and that's when he would need chinuch. Rabbi Shimon Amar Kol Shanir Mishnah Suveina Kara Ima Ima. A child that wakes up from his sleep and doesn't cry out, "Mommy," what do you mean? We have adults that wake up and they call out, "Mommy, mommy." Ela Ema Kol Shanir Veina Kara Ima Ima. That means a child that continues calling out for the mother until the mother comes. But if the child is old enough that he calls out for the mother doesn't come, and he stops calling the mother, that's already the get there of when he's old enough. Then the Mishnah gave us a story about Beis Shammai, who made a sukkah for the infant. Right? Maisanami V'Yolda Kaloso. Maisa Lister, I don't know, you just told me the halacha is that a child who doesn't need his mother, who then you bring me a story that's the opposite. So the Gemara says, there were some words missing. Shammai Machmir. Shammai was Machmir, that even a child that needs its mother requires a sukkah. That's because of the chumrah of mine. Okay. All 7 men and his house is great. Now, another halacha, Yardu Kshamim, if rain fell, when can you remove all your furniture from the sukkah? When the soup goes bad. What is this? Like a servant who brings the cup of wine to his master, and the master throws a pot of water in his face. It's like, Kadosh Baruch Hu, we're going out to sit in the sukkah, and Kadosh Baruch Hu rains on us. He doesn't want our service. If he has nice furniture, he takes them up to the sukkah. Most of this is built on the roof. Matzos notes, he has nice mattresses, he eats and drinks and takes a nice walk in the sukkah. Anonymily, the Tana Rabbanon, Teshru ke'ein tadu. You have to sit like you sit all year. Also, it's nice for mal sukkah, but so nice for sukkah. Eat. Versus Aini Bama Rava Mikro Mishnah Metal. You could learn Mishnah outside of this. Reading Torah, reading Mishnah, you can learn. You have to just, it's hard to study in the sukkah like that. To read B'kiyas, to just learn, easy learning, you do it in the sukkah. But to learn B'iyun, you have to be in a more comfortable place where there's turbans. I guess in the turbans, and that you chutz l'sukkah. Okay? That's the blot today. Mitzvah Shem tomorrow.
9 o'clock.
We'll learn at 7 o'clock, right?
Oh, 7? Okay.
7 o'clock my time. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock our time. Yeah.
9 o'clock Los Angeles time.
Mazel tov. Wish everybody
Have a
mazel
good day.
tov.